Hello and welcome to the Critically Curious. Today we are going to be given a first impressions of this game, which is Dungeons 4. Now, this game has launched on Game Pass. It's been published by Calypso Media, and of course is the fourth installment into this franchise. Many people would say it is the spiritual successor to Dungeon Keeper, if anyone used to play those games back in the day. Now, I've played, I wouldn't say all of the Dungeons games, but I certainly played at least 3 of them. I reviewed the last one, and I remember playing Dungeons way back when I was a kid. I used to love this game. I really enjoyed number 3, and I'm here to give you my impressions, my first thoughts of this game, which is number 4. Now, we're in around, I believe it is the 6th level here. And so far, I've been really enjoying the game. In fact, I've been pleasantly surprised that the further I get into this story, the more things that seem to unlock to me. Now, I was kind of a little bit worried that this game wouldn't change too much from Dungeons 3, but I'll have you know this game has changed quite a lot. It is going in big and bold. Everything seems to be more in Dungeons 4. The dungeons themselves seem to be bigger, they seem to be more complicated. There seems to be more units at our disposal as well, which I quite like. So all in all, so far, I have thoroughly enjoyed my time in the game. Now, I was lucky enough to get this early before launch, so I've had plenty of time to dive into it, understand the mechanics, and see what's new and what works, what doesn't. So far, this game has been working pretty seamlessly. I've had no issues whatsoever, no dashboards, no crashes, which is really nice to see, especially in 2023, where games typically seem to launch broken. Thankfully, this game has launched very, very well, so I'm quite excited about that. Now, there does seem to be an awful lot of levels. I believe there are 20 different levels that you can play in the game. There's also co-op as well. Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to play the co-op, so if anyone's wondering how exactly that works, I don't know at the moment. I'm looking to play some co-op after release, and of course after a few extra people actually have this game. Perhaps they're playing on Game Pass. I love playing on the old Xbox personally, so that's where I'm reviewing this game from. I'm using the Xbox Series S for this. Have also used the X, and everything's been working perfectly fine on both consoles. Now, for anyone that doesn't know what a Dungeons game is, let me explain it to you. You are the heart of all evil, and of course you want to basically conquer the world and turn everything in a little mirror image of yourself, all evil and wonderful like. Now, you manage a dungeon underground, and you get these things, right? These things called little snots, and they're your minions. They're the things that you order to do this and that. They obviously, as you can see, excavate the underground, making the rooms of your dungeon. They also worship you as well, which is kind of interesting. So if you die, it's the snots that kind of bring you back to life. The more snots you have, the faster you regenerate. It's kind of cool the way that all works. So yeah, you have to essentially manage a dungeon. Now, there is a technology tree as well. So as you get more gold, as you get more mana, as you get more influence, you're able to unlock better, bigger and better technologies, bigger and better units and bad guys. And of course, your dungeon can be attacked as well, which means you need to defend your dungeon and the heart of the dungeon, the thing that's powering your dungeon. And in order to do that, you can actually set down and lay out certain traps. You can make it harder for people to get into your rooms or be able to get into the heart of your dungeon itself. It's kind of interesting the different ways you can kind of like go about this game, and it doesn't necessarily seem to be a direct route to end a level as well. You can essentially stay down in a dungeon and really mine out and explore everything there is. I actually seem to take quite a lot of pleasure in watching my snots work, and whether it is collecting all the gold or collecting some goodies for me. It's kind of cool watching them go back and forth with piles of gold. And bringing them to the assigned treasury room, for instance. And of course, once it's in the treasury room, then that means it goes into my bank and I'm actually able to use and spend that. The combat is quite simplistic, really. You have whatever units you have available to you. You don't necessarily directly control them. You kind of just move your troops into an area in which you would like them to attack. And of course, if there's any bad guys or any buildings, then you can attack the buildings or the bad guys simply by clicking on them. In the dungeon, they will kind of aggro on anything bad, anything that you would expect them to aggro on. If they're near enough in range, they will do that. And of course, you yourself have heroes as well. As you can see, I just had Talia there. She's my hero, and she kind of finished off that fight for me. One thing I like, which I believe is new to Dungeons, in Dungeons 4 that is, and I don't think it was in Dungeons 3, is that your troops actually level up with you, which is kind of cool. Now, so they get bigger and better as they level up, and sometimes they get extra little abilities for hitting, for instance, level 3, which I quite like. It includes Talia herself, the queen of my dungeon. There's a variety of different rooms and mechanics involved in Dungeons 4, which is kind of cool. It's not overly complicated. The tutorial does a rather good job of explaining that your minions have to eat, or they have to have a place to sleep, that different types of minions require different rooms, and it's up to you obviously to plan out within your dungeon where all of these different rooms go. So all in all, the game is very well done. Like I said, I haven't had any true problems at all, and the tutorial is kind of integrated into the first few levels. I kind of feel like this level 6, is where the game really opens up to you, and you're able to kind of experience almost everything the game has to offer for the first time here. One of the things I also quite like is the dungeon exploration, because as you, of course, mine out a bigger and better dungeon, you can come across things within the undersoil of the map, whether that be a spider's lair or a gold vein or a mana vein, diamond veins, or, of course, dwarfs themselves. There can be sometimes other AI underground with you, competing for resources. They're going to raid your base. You're going to have to try and defend against them, destroy them, or of course just loot them, because you can of course invade them, destroy their layer, and of course get all the goodies that they had to offer. And of course, dwarfs are pretty good at hoarding gold. So for me, I found that really interesting. Totally adds a brand new layer to this game. Again, I believe that is a brand new feature for Dungeons 4 as well, having the dwarfs be underground with you, so you're kind of competing against them. I thought that was really fascinating. Not only that, but again, if you never played this game, you probably don't know, there is a underground and an overworld. As you can see on the map right now, we have both a left hand and a right hand map. So the left hand side indicates the overworld, in which you will have certain objectives to complete in order to complete that level. And then the right hand map shows, of course, the dungeon that you are currently building and growing. And of course, if anything bad kind of enters your dungeon, that's where you're going to see it. That's where you're going to be notified of that. All in all, the systems, the mechanics are really good. Really pleased with what I've seen so far in Dungeons 4. Really looking forward to getting out a full review in just a few hours. And of course, trying to plow through an extra couple of missions beforehand. I wanted to replay a couple as well, but I've had an absolute brilliant time. Highly looking forward to co-op. So if you're looking forward to a co-op game, and perhaps you see me online, let me know down in the comments, join the Discord. let's get a game going together, because I have a feeling that co-op could be a lot of fun. But guys, that is my first impressions and first reactions of this game. All in all, pleasantly surprised with what I've got. Looking forward to seeing how this game develops, seeing if any DLCs or, care comes after game launch. But let me know down in the comments if you've played this game, if you're looking forward to playing it. It'd be really interesting to see your thoughts on Dungeons 4. But until next time, guys, I've been a monk, we've been completely clueless, and I'll see you in the next video real soon. Until then, take it easy, and of course, as ever, guys, happy gaming.
Dug into a lava lump. Talia and the ghastly evil had discovered some dwarves who had made themselves comfortable in the dungeon. Unfortunately,